Welcome to Girlfriends Bible Study, a live Bible study with Connie and friends. Each week, Connie and her girlfriends engage in a lively conversation as they read and study scripture. So, grab a pen, your journal, and your best friend, and enjoy this enlightening Bible study.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bible Study Live with Connie and friends. And if I turn green while I'm giving the message, just know that I have the DNA of the Incredible Hulk. That's what we're going to say. That's what we're going to say. Hopefully it won't happen. The extra light seems to balance it out, so we should be good. But here we go. I have my glasses on already just because my eyes are tired and it's hard to see. So I'm just going to leave my glasses on this whole time. So we have been studying for May, dreams in the Bible, and we are doing our final May message about dreams in the Bible. And the only ones we have not yet discussed are the dreams of the king and of Pharaoh. And so I'm calling this one Dreams of the Rich and Powerful. So I did learn a new word today called Oneiromancy, and that is the interpretation of dreams in order to foretell the future. Oneiromancy. And it's spelled very interestingly, so I'll put it into the comments later, so you guys don't have to try to find it or look it up, but Oneiromancy is my new word. So we are going to read about Pharaoh's dreams and about the king's dreams, King Nebuchadnezzar. And I just want to say, I'm also going to talk a little bit about the fact, we've talked about dreams that warn, we have talked about dreams that foretell, dreams that tell the truth. So we've had all kinds of foretelling dreams or warning dreams. Don't go there, go here, or here's the truth. You know, the dream about Abraham and his wife, because they were doing the most, talk about brother and sister, nonsense stuff. And then also Joseph, Mary's boo, and how he had to have a dream to be told, look, she really is pregnant with the Holy Spirit. It's okay, take her as your wife. So there are dreams that tell the truth. There are foretelling dreams. Joseph had them. We talked about those as well. But now we're going to look at these dreams that really rich and powerful people have. But it's interesting because in both situations, God was trying to tell them something. And there are conversations about whether or not God appoints leaders, kings, presidents, things like that. And it says in a scripture we'll see in a moment that he both appoints and deposes. So, you know, the fact that he's talking to these leaders, whether they were good or bad, Pharaoh was a good leader. Nebuchadnezzar was having some trouble, but we're going to read about that. So, and I'll also just share a couple of scriptures that talk about God being the one who appoints leaders, even when they're bad ones. Sometimes so we'll be mad enough that we'll make a change. So go to Genesis chapter 41. Genesis 41, we're going to read about Pharaoh's dreams. Here's what it says, and I just found it so fascinating. There's some funny things that we'll see here. When 2 full years had passed. Now, that's how it starts the chapter. When 2 full years had passed. And the reason it's starting that way is because Joseph had interpreted the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. And he'd asked the cupbearer, who, you know, was the one who was going to end up living, please remember me. And he forgot him. That's how it ends. The last 3 words of chapter 40 are, he forgot him, which dang. So 41 starts with, when 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the riverbank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. See, sleek always sounded like skinny to me, but now we know sleek doesn't mean slim. Sleek means nice. So sleek and fat went together, not sleek and gaunt. I'm just saying. Then Pharaoh woke up. So these ugly, gaunt cows ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 healthy full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. In the morning, his mind was troubled. So he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I am reminded of my shortcomings." I'm gonna use that phrase. Periodically, today I am reminded of my shortcomings. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants. You remember that time? And he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. You remember that part? Yeah. Well, each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. Now, a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was hanged. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. And this is another favorite sentence here. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. He got it together. He didn't come in his prison attire. He was like, "I need my suit. Got to put my suit and I need a shave. Can't go looking grungy." I love that he was like, "Let me pull it together. I got to go meet with Pharaoh. Hey, know your audience, and you only have one time to make a first impression." Imagine if he had come looking like a ragamuffin. He might have been like, "Who is this? What is it? What is that?" But he didn't. Pulled it together. You better do it. You better do it, Joseph. Joseph is my dude. Anyway, he got himself together and came before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can't interpret it." "I cannot do it," Joseph replied to Pharaoh. "But God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." I love that he gave glory to God. Not me, but God. He'll use my mouth, but it's him. This is not me. Love that. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, I was standing on the bank of the Nile when out of the river there came up 7 cows, fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows came up, scrawny and very ugly and lean. I had never seen such ugly cows in all the land of Egypt. The lean, ugly cows ate up the 7 fat cows that came up first. But even after they ate them, no one could tell they had done so. They looked just as ugly as before. Then I woke up." I love you talking about how ugly. You couldn't tell they ate it. They're still skinny, still ugly. Just, like a snake, they eat a thing and they have a lump. They didn't even have that. They're just ugly, just as ugly as before. "In my dreams, I also saw 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads sprouted, withered and thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magicians, but none could explain it to me." Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterward are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance of the land will not be remembered because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now, let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take a fifth of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect, he just went in. Let me tell you what I know. They should collect all the food of those good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. I just threw that part in. God told me the first part. I threw in the second part, just so you know. That's how I roll. And the plan seemed good to Pharaoh, to all his officials. So Pharaoh asked him, can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. So powerful, so powerful. He gave him here's what's going to happen. I'm going to let you know. God, you know what? He said it twice. It was so nice. He said it twice. So let me just tell you, they're the same. The fat cows, the good stuff, that's the same. And then those skinny, ugly cows and that east wind battered grain, that's the same. God said it twice, and he said it twice because it's going to happen soon. So the matter is decided. Get ready. And, okay, that's what God said. Let me just tell you, here's what you need to do. He just got in his business. Let me tell you how you need to handle it. You want to be prepared? Here's what you do. But you know, he'd already shown himself as being somebody who could manage things well. He was in charge of the prison. He was in charge of Potiphar's house and everything that concerned him, except for his whatever wife. And so he'd already shown himself as being able to understand business. Here's how it needs to flow. This is what you need to do. You want it to prosper? Got it. I can take care of it for you. But my point is, God gave these dreams to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh knew these dreams must mean something. I'm not smart enough to know what they mean. I'm in position of power, and I don't understand what they mean. And I know they're important because he had multiple ones of them. Oh no, Gina disappeared. He had multiple dreams. So anyway, it's really powerful that he had two. He knew they meant something. He knew it was Oneiromancy. It was that they needed to be interpreted because they were going to foretell the future, and they did. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 2. Go to Daniel chapter 2. I've got multiple cards here, Bible study cards, and hopefully our sister will be back in a moment. So now, dreams of the rich and famous, we're going to take a look at Nebuchadnezzar's dream. In the second year of his reign, there she is. In the second year of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, again, plural, right? Dreams. His mind was troubled, just like Pharaoh's mind was troubled. Gina's having a sitch. And he could not sleep. So the king summoned the magicians. I always call them the magicians. Enchanters, sorcerers, and astrologers, or Chaldeans, it says, which is interesting, to tell him what he had dreamed. To tell him what he had dreamed, not tell him the interpretation. It said tell him what he had dreamed, and that's kind of jacked up. When they came in and stood before the king, he said to them, I have had a dream that troubles me, and I want to know what it means. Then the astrologers answered the king in Aramaic. O king, live forever. What does Aramaic mean there? Okay, I don't know. Okay, all right. O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will interpret it. The king replied to the astrologers, this is what I have firmly decided. If you do not tell me what my dream was and interpret it, I will have you cut into pieces and your houses turned into piles of rubble. But if you tell me the dream and explain it, you will receive from me gifts and rewards and great honor. So tell me the dream and interpret it for me. Ooh, imagine. I will kill you if you don't tell me what I dreamed last night and turn your houses into rubble, cut you into pieces. Go ahead, go. I'm gonna sit here and wait. That's jacked up, jacked up. Once more they replied, let the king tell his servants the dream and we will interpret it. Like, that's the way it normally works. You tell us what it was, we tell you what it means. Then the king answered, I am certain that you are trying to gain time because you realize that this is what I have firmly decided. If you do not tell me the dream, there is just one penalty for you. You have conspired to tell me misleading and wicked things, hoping the situation will change. So then, tell me the dream, and I will know that you can interpret it for me. The astrologers answered the king, there is not a man on earth who can do what the king asks. Ooh, they put an exclamation mark. They said it this way, not a man on earth who can do what the king asks. No king, however great and mighty, has ever asked such a thing of any magician or enchanter or astrologer. What the king asks is too difficult. No one can reveal it to the king except the gods, and they do not live among men. I'm not sure you noticed, but we are men. Only gods can do that, and they don't live here. Just saying. This made the king so angry and furious that he ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon. He is really having a situation. So the decree was issued to put the wise men to death. And the men were sent to look, for Daniel and his friends to put them to death. When Arioch, the commander of the king's guard, had gone out to put to death the wise men of Babylon, Daniel spoke to him with wisdom and tact. He asked the king's officer, nice and calm, why did the king issue such a harsh decree? This is calm, wisdom, tact, calmness. Arioch then explained the matter to Daniel. At this, Daniel went into the king and asked for time so that he might interpret the dream for him. And, he had favor with the king. So clearly he said yes. Then Daniel returned to his house and explained the matter to his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. That's also Rakshak and Benny, or, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He urged them to plead for mercy from the God of heaven concerning this mystery, so that he and his friends might not be executed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. During the night, the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. So during the night, it came in a vision, not a dream. The mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. Then Daniel praised the God of heaven and said, praise be to the name of God forever and ever. Wisdom and power are his. And then look at verse 21. He changes times and seasons. He sets up kings and deposes them. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. I thank and praise you, O God of my fathers. You have given me wisdom and power. You have made known to me what we asked of you. You have made known to us the dream of the king. Then Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to execute the wise men of Babylon, and said to him, do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret his dream for him. Arioch took Daniel to the king at once and said, I have found a man among the exiles from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means. The king asked Daniel, also called Belshazzar, are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it? Seriously? That's what he said. Daniel replied, no wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he is asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. Oh, praise God. But there is a God in those little magician people over there. Not even me as a wise man. One of your advice. I can't do it. We can't do it. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the visions that pass through your mind as you lay on your bed are these. I'm going to break it down for you. Here's what it was. As you were lying there, O king, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. As for me, This mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have greater wisdom than other living men, but so that you, O king, may know the interpretation and that you may understand what went through your mind. You looked, O king, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. While you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken to pieces at the same time and became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. You, O king, are the King of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are that head of gold. After you, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Oh, she's gone again. Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. As the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut up out of a mountain, but not by human hands. A rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true, and the interpretation is trustworthy. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell prostrate before Daniel and paid him honor and ordered that an offering and incense be presented to him. The king said to Daniel, "Surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries, for you were able to reveal this mystery." Then the king placed Daniel in a high position and lavished many gifts on him. He made him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placed him in charge of all its wise men. Moreover, at Daniel's request, the king appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego administrators over the province of Babylon, while Daniel himself remained at the royal court. That's what had happened. That is what had happened. Here's what's so interesting about that. In the very next chapter, the king sets up the image of gold for people to worship. He was smelling himself since he was the head of gold in his dream. And that's when they get thrown into the fiery furnace. That's why he didn't want to throw them in there. He loved it. And just that fast, it was like, well, you broke the king's decree, you throw them in, which is crazy. How fast we can forget what the Lord has done for us. It's like the Israelites out there saved from Egypt. They get mad because they're wandering around the desert eating manna. Mad. Manna's miraculous. Never had happened before. Red Sea had been part, all the things, but they were like, should have left us in Egypt. Tired of eating this doggone manna. Seriously? Same. King Nebuchadnezzar, sure enough, the very next chapter, He's decided everybody got to bow down and worship my statue, my idol. And he knows that Daniel serves the God of gods, the Lord of all the things, Lord of kings, revealer of mysteries. And Daniel's like, I'm not doing that. You may have forgotten, but I have not, and I will not do it. Our God can save us. But even if he does not, I will not bow down and worship you. We're not going to do it. That's what's not going to happen. That's what's not going to happen. Anyway, so that is those scriptures that I mentioned in Daniel 2:21, where it talked about how God sets up the kings and deposes them. And then I just want to read from Romans 13, verses 1 and 2, what it says there as well about leader. Oh, she's back. She's back. In Romans chapter 13, verses 1 and 2, it does say everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. You know, I always bring that up. I know that, you know, often people are divided down party lines as it comes to even, you know, religion or spirituality. And they decide their man is God's man and anybody else is not God's man, right? But then whoever gets elected, they know that, oh, well, only God can put people in positions of power, only God. So if he's there, it's because God wanted him to be there. Except that when it's not their party, they're like, yeah, it's not God's man. And that's not what this says. Even good ruler, he puts good and bad rulers in place, but he also deposes them. Or if they're good, they start out pretty good, like a Saul, where he's king, and then they jack out the box. He's like, well, see you later, dude. Just saying. And then the last thing I wanted to read to you guys, it's about being that good leader, knowing that these leaders, Nebuchadnezzar, he started smelling himself. We know that was an issue, but Pharaoh and the different leaders who might be having these dreams and things like that, and knowing that God will depose a corrupt leader. Look at Matthew chapter 20, verses 20 through 28. It's a mother's request. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. What is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. Thank you, Lord, we praise you. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said to them. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink? We can, they answered. No, you can't. He said, he didn't say that, but we all know. We sure can. Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father. When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant with the two brothers. How y'all gonna go ask? Well, what about, and you asked them if you could have some. Jesus called them together and said, look, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So when you're thinking about leaders, good or bad, and they're not selfless, their whole thing is it's all about me. That's not what God says. And those leaders get deposed. So anyway, that is dreams of the rich and powerful. So now I'm going to bring my beautiful sisters onto the screen. Hello, my sisters. Jean, you've been having an issue. What's going on? You got wind? What's happening with your internet?
I'm not windy. And I got a call from my boss, so I had to check out for a second and come back on.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's okay. Except that was like, we lost you 3 times. She called you 3 times?
It's a long story.
Okay. Wait, if I guess it and interpret it, will that be okay?
We were on for a while. I had to look at a video of a media thing that happened. So then I lost you. It was a lot.
Okay. All right. All right. Do you have any comments tonight, Gina Bean, about our final message on dreams in the Bible? Dreams of the rich and powerful.
I just have to say, as a whole, the series has been fantastic. Just so interesting, and so enlightening in so many ways. I like the way that you've broken it down into sections and topics. It's been really nice.
Honestly, I will just say, just the same way that they said, that's truly God. I'd looked at the clock at 5:30 and I was like, Lord, what did you want me to talk about tonight? So not only the themes, but also the specifics of it. And, he takes me to those chapters and I read and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, and then the message comes from that. So I'd have to give glory to God. Honestly, I'd love to, but no, he gives me the words and the creativity and the message points and all of that. And I just thank him for using me and let me be his mouthpiece. But I'm so glad that you've enjoyed it. That means a lot. All right, Ms. DeBrian.
For me, what stands out is that, of course, there are so many parallels between both Joseph as well as Daniel, with them in their rise and what it is that God does through them. But specifically in putting them together in this particular Bible study, being able to, even though, as you said, your title was the dreams of the rich and powerful, is that God gave the dream to these rich and powerful men, but he made them be in a place of humility.
Yes.
To the servants, the slaves, to seek understanding of what it was that they were seeing. They had to go beneath their station to commune with someone that they wouldn't, in order to understand what it was that God was speaking to them. And both of them having to acknowledge, your God is the God, not who I've been serving. My way of doing things has been wrong. You've checked me. And for both of them, if memory serves me correctly, like you said, they smelling themselves, doing dirty and everything else. They go back to revert to their ways. But that for me, that's what really stands out, is that God used, as the word says, that God uses the meek or the humble to, strengthen the wise. And I mean, I think that is a great example of that, to give us that illustration of, you may have the money, you may have the power, but you don't have it all because you don't have me. But these who have me, and then that God raises them up as a result.
Yes.
And
yes.
with Daniel, he even brings his boys along. Okay, I'm like, now that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Look what, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can get it close enough. My notes. Can you see what that says?
A leader, humility. Yes. Okay. Yes.
That was what I heard in reading it. And that's what took me to Matthew 20, was the humility that a leader is supposed to have, and that they both ended up having to have, like you're saying, to be able to even realize the fact that they knew it meant something and it was not within their power. They couldn't pay for it to be they could not do it in all their power, all their richness. They could not do it. The humility, like you're saying, that was the piece that hit me as well. So it's interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. And again, even going back to with Joseph, that the fact that that he was forgotten for those 2 years, but the fact that once again, it was Pharaoh having to humble himself to say, these wise people know nothing, clearly, because they can't tell me what this is. But him then having to ask a servant, Yeah. What do you know, dog? You know, but I'm saying him talking to the baker and the cupbearer in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, being
Yep.
able going to them like, who you know?
Right.
And they say,
Right.
you know what? I do know a dude.
Right.
And what was
know
what
and
was
do.
the phrase?
I love the phrase. I was just thinking about the phrase. I gotta go back to
I'm
it. You know what
reminded.
I'm reminding of my shortcomings.
Yeah. Today I am reminded of my shortcomings.
On today, I must
Today.
I am reminded of my shortcomings.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah, that dude. Yeah.
Yes. And so the fact that he goes from someone that serves him to then him going to the prison. It's like you just keep going lower and lower, dude.
Yep.
And that's the man that then becomes equal to him
Right.
in reigning.
With the exception of sitting on my throne,
You got it all.
we neck and neck.
Yeah.
Right. And you know that the people he called first to interpret came in with all their frippery and finery
And saying we can't do that.
right. You know. And we're like,
He's like, so what does it mean?
Right.
Wow. That's tough. It's a tough one.
That's a strategy. Yeah.
right. Wheat and cows. Let me.
Yeah, those are two. You know, those are two really different dreams. They're probably saying, right?
No.
Joseph's like, those it's two and the same. It's the same thing, which makes you think that somebody said they were different.
Huh.
You know, like his other people with the frills were like those completely different. What do they each be? All of them. He's like, yeah, that's the same. You have the same dream
Twice. Yeah.
twice. Exactly.
And again, going back to last week's message, the fact that Joseph had two dreams, he didn't interpret his. But later, when we look at both of those dreams, they were the same dream.
They were the same dream.
Two different things. That was what the Lord was showing him.
Yep.
This is what's going to happen.
Exactly. Joseph's like, I know about those double dreams. Let me just say that right now. I can tell you, it means the same, and it means God's mind is firmly decided. He is it is going to happen, and it's going to happen soon.
And he told you again.
Mm-hmm.
He's told you twice now.
But then what's so interesting about that is, like we were talking about with last week's message as well, the fact that it wasn't until almost 14 years later, you know, or at least within that period of time, because those 7 years of the harvest and the plenty happened, and then they're well into the 7 years of the famine is when his brothers finally come. So he hadn't seen the manifestation of his two dreams yet.
No, he hadn't yet. Not at that point. You're exactly right. He had not.
And from what we learned last week as well, the fact that he didn't even think about it again until he saw them before him. He was reminded of his dreams.
Yep. When his brothers came and bowed down before him, like those sheaves and stalks or whatever, reminded of his dream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is, like I said, to see how the rich, the powerful have to be humbled, and how God moves with those who are considered less than.
Yeah.
And makes them great. And that's just more confirmation of other scriptures as well, of what our God will do. And instructions that he gives us in Proverbs of, you know, don't try to exalt yourself. Let them do it.
Let another do it. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's true. It's true. It's good. I went back through the 21. As you guys know, there were only 21 dreams listed in the Bible. And so I'd gone back through the 21 to say, what didn't we talk about? Like when I prayed at 5:30, like what are we doing now? I think it was after 6. I'm like, Lord, where are we going? And he said, pull up the dream list. And I did. I'm like, okay, we did. And the only two types, the only two that we had not gone through were Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar. Everything else, we either directly read or we referenced. So it was just interesting. And to think that, wow, those are the only two left. And they're both, you know, the rich and the powerful. Interesting. So, you know, then the topic wrote itself. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see where we're going with this. So anyway, it has been a joy. And to read, you know, like y'all know, me and Joseph, we're thick. We bros and sisters. So I appreciate him in the dream pieces. I get him. And so talking about dreams and then reading through my own, it really is a blessing to recognize how God will really speak to us with dreams. And sometimes we can interpret, but oftentimes we have to do exactly what the rich and powerful did. You seek out something. Hey, all I know is clearly it meant something. I need to tell somebody. So anyway.
Kitchen help. Do you know anybody?
Yeah. Right. Go to the places where I can get some help. So I will say that next month is June, and our theme is playfulness in the Bible. I have no idea where we're going with that. Playfulness.
Playfulness. Oh,
Playfulness in the Bible. All right.
All right.
Well, that's going to be fun.
Okay.
I have no idea where we're going with that. You see, I don't even remember what the themes are. Honestly, oh my God, what'd you say we were going to be talking about next? Playfulness in the Bible. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. This was fun, and it was fun to finish up this topic on dreams in the Bible. And this was Dreams of the Rich and Powerful. So you guys have a wonderful night, Facebook. We're going to sign off. Bye, Facebook.